You're now listening to No Gimmicks.
No Gimmicks podcast, and we bring it to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down, this the time to move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring, this is the time for the No Gimmicks. No, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind? State of mind. Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar, the F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit, what's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on, it's the time. Guarantee we move, you know how we respond. The state design when we feel it. Moving down, what's the healing? No gimmicks is the feeling.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. And if you've been following us on this journey that we've been on with Ephesians Pro Wrestling, one of our guests that we had on this show spoke about a match that he was in a handicap match, and there was all about revenge on his side. We're going to go to the other side of that equation. And joining me today is somebody that if you watch the HBO interview, he spoke about this guy and sort of went over their history. But joining me today, we have the master of the mat, the brains of the operation, the tactician, Mr. Ryan Hart. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to No Gimmicks.
Thank you, Kelvin. Appreciate you having me on, and welcome to the Lordatorium.
I see that. I see he who stays ready doesn't have to get ready. I can appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that. But I did want to start where kind of we left off with HBO, because with him, he says that you guys were in a tag team and you were trying to influence him to do some things that he didn't necessarily want to do. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of clear the air. Was there any persuasion for him to do things, or were you just thinking in a mindset of winning? What was it?
Kelvin, here's the thing. I'm always in the mindset of winning, and I've said it before. Everybody else is playing checkers. The tactician Ryan Hart is playing chess. So I'm several steps ahead. But the thing about HBO that I don't think he shared with you and each and every one of you people out there watching is that he wanted so badly to impress me. He wanted so badly to be accepted by the tactician Ryan Hart, the number of years I have had in the ring, and he wanted the tutelage that he could get only from me. And so where the tag team actually started was because he had to relinquish his Texas title in order to tag with me, and that's what he chose. And so why wouldn't he follow my lead? Why wouldn't he do exactly as I say? And, you know, you can call it being influenced by the bad apple or whatever it is, but the fact of the matter is this is what he wanted, and I was trying to give him exactly what he wanted. It's not my fault that his morals and his moral compass and all those things kind of kicked in and trying to make his mama proud or whatever the case may be. It's not my fault that he didn't want to listen to somebody who has been down the road before.
That's interesting that you say that. So do you think on his side there may have been a little bit of jealousy?
You know, there's always going to be jealousy. I'm the first ever, what we call four corners champion. I've held all four titles that we have had. We don't have three. We only have three of them right now. We don't have the fourth one. So that list is very short. Who can even be on that list? And so, you know, suffice it to say, there's probably a lot of people out there jealous. And so he's jealous of what I bring to the table. He's jealous of my knowledge and my experience. And he's, of course, jealous of the career that I have had so far.
So this handicap match, is this your way of, because for him, he says it's revenge. What do you see it as?
You know, everybody wants to see Johnny as the bad guy, as the villain. But did we ever think for a second that maybe it was Daniel's son? Maybe Daniel was the one who was the one who was doing things he shouldn't do. Was that our hero was actually Johnny. And so maybe everybody's perception's a little off. Maybe they're not understanding, like you said, you're here to get the other side. Maybe they're not understanding my side. Maybe I tried to do everything I could, and he just wasn't getting it. He wasn't ready to play. He wasn't ready to come to the level of tactician Ryan Hart. And you know what? His best friend, Retro Dewey Declan, he had enough of the shenanigans, enough of the things that HBO tried to do to salvage their friendship, but backfired every single time. That, you know what, Retro Dewey Declan was willing to listen to me. And so he can look at it as revenge all he wants. He can look at it as, oh, poor me, and I've been outnumbered and I've been outsmarted. But you know what? It doesn't take much to outsmart a hillbilly. And not that says anything about me. I've outsmarted some of the best. And so if you want more on that story, just ask Johnny Lawless.
Wow. Strong words, man. Strong words. But it brings me to a place, because again, looking at things through other perspectives is highly important. But you said something that really caught my attention, and that is, he didn't do the things that you felt that he needed to do to get to the level that you think that he should be at. What level did you think that he should have been at?
I mean, honestly, there was more in him. He's gotten better. He is. He's improving constantly. The problem I see is how much he panders to the crowd, how much he wants the acceptance of the people out in the audience. And so when you can realize your full potential, recognize how good you are, and be confident in that ring, as Ryan Hart is, then you don't need the acceptance. You don't need the cheers. You don't need all those things from the fans. And so he relied on that too much. It would cost him. It would cost us matches, honestly. And his head wasn't in the game. And so honestly, he's got to do those things, I think, in order to get to that next level. Is he getting better? Is he improving? Yeah. But sometimes, we've got these delusions of grandeur that everything's going to be unicorns and rainbows. And you know what? That is just not the real world, Kelvin.
That is. Speaking of something that's not the real world, he brought up something that said he has this thing he calls bully juice. Do you think that's a helper for him?
It is a factor. And initially when we accepted the challenge, he's the idiot that made the challenge. He said we could actually have however many we wanted, but we stuck with the two. We're professionals, we're generous men at the end of the day. So anybody who wants to get upset, he gave us free reign. We could have taken the an entire army against him if we wanted, but it's not necessary. But for a split second, I thought I forgot about the power of the bully juice. And so being the tactician, being the master strategist that I am, it didn't take long for me to work around that and to think through things. And yeah, we had a warm-up match. We had a tune-up recently where Dewey and I took on a great young talent, Devin Anello, and he answered the call, our open challenge, and he was fantastic. But we had to get our minds right of a handicap match, 2-on-1. We've got to tag in and out. And so, you talk about doing whatever it takes. And what did HBO do? I'm sure he didn't tell you that, but he came out here with a special concoction, a special lab-made bully juice where Devin could taste that bully juice and feel its effects, because that bully juice is only supposed to work for HBO. And so knowing what we know, Kelvin, I'm sure you're going to be here on Saturday night for Revival, and you're going to find out for yourself firsthand what Retro Dewey Declan and I have planned when it comes to the bully juice. You're muted.
Sorry, I do this every show.
That's what I heard. It's your thing.
It's my thing. I was just saying, oh no, that sounds horrible. But this story is very intriguing, and it's because he's allowing it to happen. And I don't know if he has an ace up his sleeve, but you being the tactician you are, saying what you're saying, it sounds great. But this is the biggest show of the year. And him doing this on the biggest show of the year, it's oddly confident for me. So as a tactician, does that set off your radar? Like this guy, he doesn't care. It's the biggest show of the year. It's our biggest crowd of the year. We're sold out as of today.
Yes, sir.
What is he thinking? Does that set off any senses in you?
You know what it comes back to, and again, I've been around a while. I've been in this wrestling ring for 20 years, and I've seen them all come and go. And being Ephesians Pro Wrestling, we're based out of the Bible. We're based in Christianity, and so I can't tell you the exact reference, but I know in the Bible it says that pride comes before the fall. And so, not that I haven't been guilty of that a time or two myself, but I think this is a classic case of HBO biting off more than he can chew, thinking that he'll have the entire 300 people inside this arena behind him, being able to defeat Retro Dewey Declan and I. And Kelvin, it's just not going to happen.
Oh, that was a bar. Pride comes before the fall. Oh, that was so good. Okay. All right. Match set. Biggest night of the year. Let's talk about Revival itself, because this is a stacked card. There's a lot going on this card. Talk about the success of EPW this past year, leading up to this card.
It's been incredible. We have been on a journey, and to go from changing leadership, to go from having to change our name, to go from doing everything the right way as far as starting ourselves as a nonprofit. We are a wrestling ministry. We're not another wrestling promotion, which in a lot of ways means we've got to work a lot harder. Anything out there with a Christian label on it, whether it's music, whether it's T-shirts and merchandise, whatever, people have come accustomed to that it's kind of a cheap knockoff, or it's a lesser version, or there's just not much to expect out of something that's Christian. And so we pride ourselves on working extra hard. The stories that we tell, the things that we do inside this ring, the talent that we have in and outside the ring that makes EPW what it is. And we work extra hard for that. And I think you're going to see that at Revival. And this last year is going to be a culmination of that. We had last year it was called Silver Revival because it was 25 years, silver anniversary. And, we're seeing a lot of the same things, but the sellout crowd has happened earlier. We've got a bigger setup that's going to happen earlier in the day next door at the church right in front of us. And so we didn't do that last year. We set up maybe an hour and a half earlier, where we had some concessions and merchandise outside. People could come hang out for a little bit while they're waiting for the doors to open. But today we've expanded that. We've got starting at 2:30 to 4:30. We've got that community resource fair. We're going to have meet and greet and autographs with the wrestlers. That's all completely free. And then at 4:30 is going to be our first ever Hall of Fame ceremony. Last year, senior referee Haas Blocker was inducted into our EPW Hall of Fame. He's our first ever Hall of Famer. And now we're going to make a whole little ceremony out of it. We're going to acknowledge the EPW kids. We're just going to have kind of a nice time of interacting. Now, I don't know that I'm really going to be there, other than the obligatory I'm a nominee for the Hall of Fame. Why wouldn't I be, right? But besides that, I may not be as involved over there. But at the same time, again, like you said, what has happened with EPW in the last year? A lot. And this is going to be a testament to that, I think, in having, what is it? We're at Wednesday. We're 3 days away and we've sold out.
Yeah.
So now there's already talk about looking into a bigger venue for next year, so that we can save the money to be able to rent out a facility. And we're not going to make a huge jump, I'm sure, but we've got to be able to house more people so they can come not only see who we are, what we're about, what we do inside this ring, but to also hear about Jesus Christ.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And you speak on something that kind of piqued my interest there too. And that is EPW has a kids division, right? Talk to me about that, your work with it, and just how that came about, because it's something you don't see every day, but it's awesome. Because I was talking to Anna Lynn about this, and she brought up the fact that the kids have something to look up to in the guys on the main roster, the guys and girls on the main roster. So talk to me about EPW kids and your work with it.
For sure. I appreciate that. allowing me the opportunity to talk about that. To touch on what you just last said, them being able to look up to us, like we offer them as they're enrolled as students, we offer them free entry in all of our shows here at the Auditorium as a point of not just getting to watch the other coaches and watch the main roster guys and be up close and personal with every show, but also as a learning experience, as a part of their training. And so if their parents are able to get them up here, we're going to give them a free ticket, those students. So then they can not only have a good time, but at the same time, they can start watching, they can start learning things that we instruct them on, especially our advanced students. What we instruct them on Sundays in class, and they can see on a Saturday night, go, oh, that's what coaches were talking about. That's what happened. And whether it's us or whether it's any of the rest of the guys on the main roster. So to see what that has become has been a journey as well. As I mentioned, I've been with our ministry for quite some time. And so we dabbled in that years and years ago. And it was probably a 2-3 day kind of a weekend, almost a wrestling themed VBS, Vacation Bible School. And so it was very minimal. We didn't do a whole lot with them. We felt safe about that because there was some concern, there was concern. How we're going to teach little kids how to be pro wrestlers. That's crazy, And then fast forward to I'd been away for some time and in coming back and going through some changes in my life, Guardian was helping out. It was a summer camp where during the summer on Sundays, they came up and wrestled, and they'd get to perform in our August show. They'd perform the hour before we started. And so the few kids that were there, they'd get to have their show of their own. But before we went on, it kind of opened for us. And so he asked me to help him out and with my experience and things like that. And I enjoyed it. But at the same time, that I was hung up on that. Like I said, teaching kids to be pro wrestlers, like that's dangerous. That's crazy. What are we doing? And he and I when we were hanging out, he took me to a drag racing competition out in Ennis, and they had a junior competition league. They had a junior division. And so there was like 8-year-olds that were driving. They were smaller versions of the drag cars, but they got to do that too. And so that's what opened my eyes. And during that time, I was also teaching the electrical trade to high school students. And so I thought, man, for us to be able to give an opportunity like this that we didn't have, to kids at a younger age, to get to experience it, be exposed to it, and start that training early, especially if they're motivated and dedicated to this is what they want to do. And we have several of them that are like this is what they want to do. And if they can jump in there, much like I know you've talked about and you're familiar with Langley, but to be able to jump in there before they're even 18 and start wrestling out in the independents, we want to be here to help them for it. And so it's my true heart and passion. I'm so blessed to get to be in this position and love it. Look forward to every single Sunday spending time with those kids. We've developed relationships with them where it's not just teaching them to wrestle. It's another coach. It's another mentor. It's another somebody else that they can look forward to hanging out with and being poured into and from a Christian aspect, that's similar to or adjacent to like a youth pastor on a youth group.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing work. And just seeing that, and because the kids division is really popular too. So that's a bonus. But yeah, just seeing the work, that's amazing work. So kudos on that. Very much kudos.
Thank you. And yeah, you're right. We draw a big crowd, and I think that's primarily how much they get the word out and get their friends and family to come watch them. But we sell out of that one almost every time too. We don't set up 300 chairs, but it's real close. It's 200 plus. And the last maybe 3 shows that we've had, because they get 3 a year that they're guaranteed at the end of each session, we've sold out of those too.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. For real awesome. But before we get out of here, you also do some work with a nonprofit. Can you talk to me about that?
For sure. As I said, or maybe I alluded to, but have helped through the transition of leadership and us making things right. It was very important for us to make sure we were a nonprofit and that we followed through everything that the different legalities and stuff. But what's also been very important, and not that I've been able to be a front runner on, but I've definitely just because of my day job kind of forces me to be in where I'm at, clocked in 40 hours a week kind of thing. And I can't split my attention during that time. But, but as much as the opportunities exist, I'm out here, I'm helping, I'm doing, but we have been very focused on trying to be more involved in the community and more involved in the area. Rockwall, Fate, Royce City. We're heavily involved in the Royce City Chamber of Commerce. Different events that they've held, whether they've had us be a part of it or not. We've been there. We've helped out. We've got the Child Advocacy Center for Rockwall County that we've made a great connection with. We actually put on a show for them in April, their Go Blue fundraising event. It was a fantastic show. Unfortunately, we didn't have as many in the audience as we'd hoped for, but we were able to really bless them with a tremendous donation that was 100% off of what we did for that show. And so even though we're not at a place yet as an early nonprofit to have the funds to give and pour and give generously into the community and into these different other nonprofits that we'd love to get to do, we also don't offer some of the services that they do. And so it puts us in a tough spot, but we've started to find kind of a niche for now where, whether it's Toys for Tots, whether it's the fundraising show we did for the Child Advocacy Center, where we can utilize our space and our talents and our passion to hopefully bring people in to then bring in some money and bring in those funds and to do our part and to do what we can, even though we're not in that position quite yet. So I think the sky's the limit. It's just timing. It's just continuing to put in the work and to find those like-minded individuals who see what we're doing and want to be a part of it on a deeper level than just pro wrestling. This is the tool that God has given us to use. He chooses us. He doesn't need us or require us. He could do this on his own. But it's such a blessing that the talents and passions that we have to do this, he is then going to use in a myriad of ways to bring back not just to us, but more importantly to himself.
Love it, man. Love it. Absolutely love it. Before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find you and where they can find EPW this Saturday.
Well, I'm not much on social media, unfortunately. So
I love it.
You can find me on social media, but I'm probably not going to be very interactive. I'm more of an in-person kind of guy. So, but certainly I'm up here with EPW. We've got Revival coming up on Saturday, as I said, at Encounter Church right in front of us here on the highway out in Fate. 2:30 to 4:30 is our community resource fair. Wrestlers will be meet and greet, autographs. That's all free, no ticket required. You don't have to have purchased a ticket for Revival to get into that. That is all open, come and go. 4:30 will be that Hall of Fame ceremony, and then 6 o'clock doors are going to open. 7 o'clock show starts. As you said, a stacked card. We are live, or we don't air live, but we film live here for Abundant TV, and it is the fastest growing Christian streaming network in the country, and so we're blessed to be a part of them as well. They have been around for 4 years, just celebrated their 4th year, but we're on every Saturday at 5 Central. It is called EPW Battleground, and I know Bogle mentioned it. Dustin, the Mogul Bogle, mentioned that there is a bit of a delay, but we do our tapings here, and so Revival will be seen at a later date as we get to that point in that weekly episodic taping there that's aired on Abundant TV. So you can find us there. You can find us. We've got EphesiansProWrestling.org is our website. We're on Facebook, heavily involved on Facebook. That's where you see everything that we put out for main roster, for kids, everything that we're doing in the community. So follow us there, subscribe, join, comment, like, all the things.
Absolutely, man. Honestly, talking with everyone that I've talked to so far, it's been nothing but a pleasure. I can't wait for this Saturday. I can't wait to see it in person. So I just appreciate the time. Thank you guys for all coming on. I really do appreciate it. So,
we appreciate the opportunity. Anything we can do to, and it's not just about helping us, but helping you out as well, and to help give you some more content. But at the same time, we want to reach out too, and so it's
absolutely,
it's been beneficial for sure. The fact that you cover other wrestling promotions in the area, that you've included us and that you've done a special highlight this week for us. So we thank you very much for that as well, Kelvin.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. But anytime, the door is always open. So if you guys have something you're working on, this is a platform for you too. So please, by all means, come back.
Sounds great.
All right. But appreciate the time. And for everybody watching, thank you guys for tuning in. Please, please, please follow EPW. Get to Abundant TV if you can. Well, if you haven't got tickets, you can't because it's sold out.
Right.
But get to Abundant TV, watch this, but follow EPW and see what it's all about for yourself. But until next time, you guys be safe, take care of each other, enjoy what you're going to enjoy. Peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.